Am I alive yet?
Are you alive yet? Anybody out there? Because if you're not alive, you really, really need to look around, figure out what's going on, because you probably aren't on Earth anymore. And if that's the case, you need to go on and enjoy your life after. Afternoon, morning, evening, lunchtime, whatever it is for you while you're watching this. Another day in the great world of ours. Hopefully it's treating you well. If not, I mean, go back to sleep or, I don't know, drink a lot of booze. So, getting on to the topic, topic here, we'll start with Fantastic Four. Their little teaser trailer dropped. For one, I don't know about many other people. You might be a huge fan of the Fantastic Four. I never was. I'll be honest with you, growing up, I always thought they were pretty nerdy and pretty boring. I was not a fan of their comics. Really knew nothing about, and still really know nothing about them. I know that Fox has attempted over the last 20 years to do the Fantastic Four movies. You had the precursors, the ones that came out in the early 2000s, which weren't overly bad, but I mean, like that first one was really super cheesy. The second one with the Silver Surfer was pretty good until they made Galactus a giant cloud. Because that's what Fox does. They're just like Sony. They take a Marvel project and instead of turning it into something great and gold, they get like Chris Farley and they squeeze it and they hold it and they hug it and then it's dead. Good job, Fox. That's why you are no longer in business. So yeah, the 2015 one, of course, which was just horrible. I mean, I've never seen it, but I could just tell how that was done. Again, Fox just did not pay attention to the comic, just obviously did not care. We're trying to do their own thing with it, and it was just bad. But yeah, I have never been a big Fantastic Four. When Marvel Studios a couple years ago stated that they were going to do this movie, my first question was, why? I mean, I'm not hating on them. If the Fantastic Four is your team, if you love them for being the first Marvel family and all that, hey, more power to you. I got no problem with you on that. That's fantastic. Hey, good. They didn't do it for me. Again, around the time I started getting the comics, the X-Men were becoming the more popular thing. Spider-Man had always been around. Captain America was still somewhat of an interesting character. But Fantastic Four were just too cheesy for me, even at that age, at 11, 12 years old. So I just did not care for them, have never really cared for them. So when they decided to pull this movie, it was just like, okay. I mean, I'm not going to go to theaters to see it, but whenever, the month after, whenever it is that it comes out on Blu-ray or when it's on streaming, Disney, whatever it is, I watch it there. But and I think, I'll be honest with you, I think as a whole, I think most Marvel fans are just kind of lukewarm to this because they've been done before. But, so here's the trailer. If you haven't seen the teaser trailer, we'll get it out there right here. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit and pause it from time to time so I don't get in trouble.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7 on the dot.
Now, for those that don't know, this particular Fantastic Four takes place in another universe. It is not in our universe. That's why everything is retro 60 looking. If you don't remember, or if you haven't seen Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, spoilers, but the Office's John Krasinski, anyways, he shows up as a fan kind of homage as Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, and has a little cameo. And in the scene, Doctor Strange asks, like, didn't you guys charter in the 60s? So they've done this thing, and there's some theories around that they are actually from our universe and got transported into another universe somehow, probably while flying their spaceship, either way. But that's why this aesthetic is in the 60s, because they are in a completely different universe.
No matter what, we're all here.
Herbie, how's that sauce coming?
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
Okay. Okay, is this guy good or what? I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious.
Now, I've seen some people, let's talk about Thing for a minute. They're not thrilled kind of with his face, but to be honest, I know this much about the Fantastic Four and Thing, is when he first came out in the comics, this is what he looked like. This is comic book accurate Thing. He had the Neanderthal Cro-Magnon eyebrow. He was a little skinnier. He didn't really, they didn't really like start puffing him up till later versions of him. He was more of an athletic kind of built dude. So I saw like a lot of people just kind of like giving the oh god reaction to it, but this is how he looked in the comics. So you could tell who had read comics and who didn't, because the ones that read comics recognized this, and the ones that didn't were just kind of, oh my god, pull back from it. But this is what he looks like. I did like that the appeal where he's clapping his hands and you actually hear the rocks clacking together. So I mean that's spot on good.
Okay. Okay, is this guy good or what?
And the little robot there, his name is Herbie. Not to confuse him with Herbie the Love Bug. If you haven't seen those movies, give him a shot. But I think he's from the comics. I could be wrong. But he was like basically built to alert the Fantastic Four of celestial threats, which, as you'll see later in this trailer, there is a celestial threat. That means from space for you uneducated morons. But here we go.
A couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious. I just want to add a little bit of zip. Okay?
T-5.
Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock.
The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
And Johnny never caught fire.
Ben has always been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
Hi!
Now, I don't know if everybody's noticed too, but there's a lot in this movie where Thing is just always dressed. Like in every few scene that you see him, this one here, he's dressed. When you see here, he's also dressed. Like he's not in this world. He's more humanized as he's wearing outfits than just walking around in the comics where he was just walking around in like the blue thong or the blue Speedo. So they're, I guess, humanizing him more, where I guess he's more comfortable in this particular universe than he would be, or maybe not comfortable. I could be just misstating that, and he's just used to being himself and dressing like that. Maybe he gets more comfortable and breaks it out to the Speedo later, but anyways.
Johnny is Johnny.
Hi!
By the way, Vanessa Kirby.
And I am right here. life throws at us, we'll face it together. As a family.
Okay, so if you don't know or don't recognize, here goes Johnny doing Superman. The celestial threat in this one, Silver Surfer, as it was announced, is going to be in this movie. John Malkovich, he's in it. They're saying that he's the Red Ghost. Again, I know nothing of that character, so I won't pretend to explain what he is or what he's doing, but there's something like, I guess he's kind of jealous of the powers that they got, and he somehow does science experiments to get powers himself, and I think it involves monkeys. I don't know, from what I was told, but Malkovich is in the movie. And then you have what the threat is, and as you can see, it is Galactus. You get a better visual of him there we go, with the Statue of Liberty, which it's one of those things too. Again, I always knew Galactus as the huge space creature. For those of you that don't know, Silver Surfer is his herald and is doomed to go out and find planets for him. Galactus eats planets. He's the destroyer, devourer of worlds. He just basically, eats them like cookies. Ooh, cookie. And eats them. And I've always known him as that giant robot creature, celestial creature that just eats planets. But I didn't realize that he could also shrink. His size, expand, shrink, or whatever, like Ant-Man, I guess. And so here in the movie, they're showing him as he has kind of shrunk himself down, and the rumor is it's because he's looking for the Fantastic Four because they have something that he's interested in. Now, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but it has to do with the multiverse, because that's where we are headed. And then the end of it just ends with that Fantastic Four, which, if you look at the studio that they're in, the arrows in the studio, it's supposed to be like, I think, Ed Sullivan, when the Beatles were on there. If you can find, I guess the first time they were on there, they all stood on a round stage, and there were these arrows that were all pointing at them, and it's like, they were the Fab Four, and you have the Fantastic Four, so it was kind of a play at that. So a little cheeky, cool thing. But yeah, that's that little teaser trailer that wasn't the big trailer. Now I didn't pay attention to it, but I saw they did this whole build up for it, right? This morning, dating the time period, but they did it this morning, and apparently they were in Huntsville, Alabama. And why they chose, so Huntsville, Alabama has a space museum there. Why Huntsville, Alabama? I guess that's where they designed or even created a lot of the rockets that they used to fly into space. So maybe that's why the museum is there. I visited there almost 30 years ago as a kid, in Scouts, dork. And I don't really remember too much of it. Like, I remember being inside, and they have, the old capsules and the old rockets that you can look at. They had a simulation where you could fly a spaceship and even land a lunar craft, which was pretty cool. The only other things that I remember about being there was outside they have setups of the moon landing and other stuff. And one of our troop members thought it would be fun to run through one of these sets, I guess you could say, and the security there was not too thrilled with him about that. And then besides that, we did like where you I don't know if people remember, you make your own rocket and it, shoot them up in the air. And the only thing I remember about that is there was some scout that had one, and the rocket blew up like halfway up, and I remember a few people yelling "Challengers." So there's that. But why they chose a particular spot to do the to basically put this trailer out to the world, I have no clue. I mean, you would have thought they would have done like Houston or even down in Daytona on the Space Coast, but they went with Huntsville. So they did this whole build up. And when they go live, it was just a mess. Like the woman that was hosting it, I mean, not throwing any hate to her, but you could clearly tell they did not prep her enough for what she was supposed to be doing, and the whole thing seemed rushed. They had a little bit of a crowd behind them. The actors come out. They do their their little thing, talk about their characters, and then they supposedly push a button and it shows the trailer. And the only thing I could think was, like, they might have only been there for 10 minutes before they did this stuff, and then it was over. It wasn't like it was, okay, now we're going to sit and talk to them for another hour while we're doing this live stream. It was just like this whole build up. You got like 30 minutes of just this weird, uncomfortable woman hyping up the project, about 10 minutes of weird interview, and then the trailer came out, and then that was it. I was sitting there thinking, like, these actors have to be thinking, why the hell did we get flown to Huntsville, Alabama to do this when we could have done this anywhere? I did see that they later did go on Good Morning America and were still in Huntsville doing a thing there, so I guess they kept them there for a few hours, but it was just a weird, like, it was one of those Marvel things that was clearly a miss, and they'll probably learn from, and they won't do again, because it was just a sensational mess. The only other thing that I worry about with this, again, that was what Melissa Kirby was wearing. She's such a fox. Vanessa, not Melissa. Vanessa. So anyways, I saw some people complaining about the trailer, which, again, it's just a teaser trailer. You can't get upset about a teaser trailer. You can't even really get upset about a trailer. I do agree that they sometimes set the tone for if you want to see that movie or not, but teasers are just made there to get you excited, to get you interested, or to get people that may not have cared for this particular brand, maybe raise an eyebrow and see what they think. I don't know how many people, especially, again, Fantastic Four first came out in, I think, the early 60s. You are now 60 years from when they were 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Yeah, 60 years. Almost 65. It could be 60, 65. I don't know how much in the last 20 years this generation has grown up with these characters or even cares for these characters. They had 2 movies that were, interesting, but nothing spectacular in early 2000. Then you had The Bomb in 2015. I saw a lot of people claiming too that, Marvel needs this movie to hit to save or to help the MCU. I don't necessarily feel that. I don't think they expect this movie to save the MCU. I think it would help if it did well, because that Captain America movie is not trending well at all for whatever reason. So it definitely would help to have this one kind of knock it out the ballpark. But at the same time, I don't know how much enthusiasm you can generate for a group of characters that not a lot of people either know and or care for. And I know there's some people out there saying, well, you had the Guardians of the Galaxy. True. I had never heard of the Guardians before, never really paid attention, and that movie was great. But there wasn't super hype built about those characters at first. In fact, it was more when it was announced that movie was being made, a lot of people were like, what the hell is Guardians of the Galaxy? So, I mean, they only had any place to go was up at that point. And James Gunn did a great job with that first movie and even the other 2 after that. But again, you're dealing with characters that have already been, in some ways, been in movies 4 different times, because you had that crappy 90s Marvel Fantastic Four movie that came out. So you're really fighting off Ghost, I guess, on some level. I think that this is really relying on the aspect of the multiverse as far as what could happen with it. But what I would say to everybody is, enjoy the trailer, get intrigued by it. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But I would wait until the very first trailer comes out, and I don't think that's going to be for another month. And then you can make your decision from there if you think it's going to be a good movie or not. But again, I just think Marvel is battling against some pretty heavy-handed things here when it comes to trying to make the Fantastic Four legitimate in that universe, because with the way they're going to it, I mean, we all know with Doomsday and then Secret Wars, you have to introduce these characters because, I mean, you could just throw them in the movie Secret Wars, and sure, some people would be excited and be thrilled about it. Then you're going to have others that just have no knowledge, and that's just how it is. But I think Kevin Feige is a huge fan of Fantastic Four. That's why he wanted this made, but I don't know. Again, I'm not going to go see it in the theaters. I'm just not that. It's not doesn't do anything for me. I'll wait for it to either come out on Disney Plus or Blu-ray or whatever, and then watch it. But if you are a fan of it, or if you are just a movie theater person, I'd possibly go and see it. Now, to get into trailers and reactions and stuff to it, I came across. I don't know how many of you guys know about the content creators. They're on YouTube. They're called Real Rejects. That's REELREJECTS. And these they're mostly a react channel. They react to movies. They split out more. I think they started out being kind of like a comic book movie guide or who's who, or they would talk about the movies that they would see and give their reaction to it as far as that, and then have moved more to, they've expanded to where they have people that do reactions to movies on their channel, to where now like they're a podcast, and they have their own podcasts, like everybody else is doing these days, and that's great. But it's interesting because at some point, and I think that's most people that do different podcasts, is at some point, especially these ones that do movies and focus on entertainment, you start getting invited to premieres. You start getting invited to showings because, as Hollywood has figured out, a lot of people go to these pages to see what these content creators feel about a specific movie, whether it's good or bad, this, then, or the other, and a lot of it determines whether they're going to go see it or not. Why people are like that, I don't know. Content creators are the new critics. The old movie critics that used to, Siskel and Ebert and stuff like that. So now it's, just random a-holes sitting there telling you if they like the movie or not, to the point that if they get enough followers, studios start giving them tickets to go and possibly hype up their movies and this and that. The only problem with that is, at some point, you get so much attention that the studios will start, maybe paying you or offering you more stuff, to where you basically become, I don't want to say like a paid employee, but you're getting paid by the studios. And it comes to a point to where you can't be as critical to projects, and you become more of, I don't want to say a stooge, but you become more of as just a paid subscriber, I guess you could say. You become more of somebody that seems like you're owned by the studios. And that's happened with these particular, I don't know his names. I guess his name is Coy, from what this person's tagged. I could be wrong. But they were doing a podcast, and they were talking about Superman little clip of where he's flying and twirling, and it looks like one eye is shooting out this way and the other eye is shooting straight. And this one individual has taken a little bit of heat for how he's kind of defended it. And we'll play what he said first, and then we'll get into it.
I don't understand looking at a 5-second clip and judging a 2-hour movie on it, one. I also don't understand looking at something that's intentionally shot in scope to feel impactful and judging a thing on your phone, too. I also don't understand the need to take something that's inherently fantastical and try to drag it through the mud when the whole point of Superman is joy. 3 and 4, I don't understand why there are people that are seeking negativity about a property that is inherently about bringing good to people. There are people that are attached to prior interpretations of this character that are looking for negativity, that it could be the best shot in the world and it wouldn't matter. We're so aggressively seeking negativity that even something cool, to me, is already at a deficit before it's even shown. People are just like, how do we attack it? And I don't see any reason to not see movies as magic and comics as magic. There is actually no reason to not enjoy the fiction that thousands of artists have given us. There is not a single reason to not look at a man flying and be excited. All it's going to do is lift your frequency, your vibration, your joy. All it's going to do is make your day better. So why not see the world as bright as possible? If the real world is as dark as it is, why not look to the silver lining? Why not appreciate that no one had to give us any of this? I never understand why you would choose to look down when you can look up. And that's why I love Superman.
So first, I'll start with my first issue with that is, one, he works with a content creator works on a page where they do criticize. They do give their opinions on movies as far as if they like it, if they don't. I'm sure you can go, if you want to, you can go to their YouTube page and find trailers where he was less enthusiastic, where he was maybe even critical to the trailer. So to sit here and try to lecture people that they shouldn't be critical to a 12-second clip or to a 1-minute trailer, but yet you have a history yourself of possibly being critical or possibly looking at a small fraction of a clip and making judgments on it, it's kind of nonsense. I mean, it's kind of BS. And I know he was probably coming from a good spot, which is good for him. He wants to put good vibes out there. He wants to put love out there. That's great. But when you have recorded, documentation of you crapping on other things, or you saying you're not a big fan of the way this is done or that is done, you're going to catch heat for trying to then turn that around and tell other people that they can't do that. I mean, that's just how it is. Clearly, he's a huge Superman fan. Good for him. The other point where he's going at Snyder fans, because you have a lot of Snyder fans that are still mad that Snyder was taken off of these Warner Brother projects, these DC projects, whatever. I'll say this. I was never a big Superman guy growing up. I've said that before, too. I was more Batman. I enjoyed the Christopher Reeve Superman, like the first and second one. Besides that, I just didn't care. I went into theaters with my buddy and saw The Man of Steel when that came out, and I thought that was a decent take on Spider-Man on Superman. The only thing I didn't like about it was the ending. And people might question, oh, well, when he killed Zod. No, I didn't have an issue with that. The issue that I had with that particular one was how much of Metropolis they destroyed. I mean, it looked like they just leveled the entire city. And it's one of those things where Superman as a character would have known after the first building went down that, oh crap, I need to get him out of here. Fly him out to a desert, flying him out to somewhere where we can have this fight and it won't cause as much destruction. But it just, it was a fight to where they basically destroyed the majority of Metropolis, and it's like, so what happens now? I mean, that city's completely flattened. What can you do with it? And it's one of those things where if they would have had more of an oversight on it, what you would have had them do is have them fight in that building that Bruce Wayne owned. Have that one fall, so that would set up your Batman versus Superman, because it would give Batman, him seeing his building that he owned, fall, collapse, kill his employees or whatever it was, and then have Superman fly Zod off, somewhere else and fight and kill him out there. So yeah, I was not a big fan of that ending, and as a whole, I was not a big fan of Snyder's universe. I honestly thought that it was completely lost. I think they had just some ideas of what they wanted to do, and then just completely did not know how to follow it up. And I've seen people praise the Snyder Cut, and I've seen a little bit of the Snyder Cut, and it's nothing different. So they added Dark Shield. Oh, that's great, but it's nothing different than what it already was. They rushed that universe. If they would have taken more time, he probably still would have been around. If they wouldn't have, and I get they like, oh well, DC is supposed to be dark. Not necessarily. I mean, the comics were always really cheesy. I mean, they went through their time periods, of course, where, different writers, different artists or whatever take different spins with characters. That's fine. That happens. But overall, I mean, even Marvel, they've all been just cheesy comics. And the Marvel universe is more slanted towards the comics as far as their universe is not that dark. And I know people like it when it goes darker, which I think at certain times you can go dark with Marvel, but you can't live in it like the DCU universe did. And whereas the DC was so dark, you can't pull it back and make it a light, because then it just doesn't work. It's like Shazam worked on some levels, but even then Shazam was still kind of dark, and even that second one just didn't really do what it was supposed to. So I understand what he's saying, that there's a lot of criticism out there from those Snyder geeks. That's fair and that's warranted. But at the same time, there's people like me that I looked at the first trailer and I looked at those clips and I was just like, what the hell? Like, okay. And again, like, just put it back with the Fantastic Four. I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to tell you that it's shit. I'm not going to tell you that it's garbage. I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt and tell you it's the greatest thing. But just watching the first trailer and then watching that clip where my dude's eye is popping this way, it was just like, huh. Like, I don't know what we're trying to promote or what we're trying to do here. So for him to just try to paint it all on that people want this movie to fail when that's just one segment of a fan group, that's not true. I mean, Snyder Bros aren't going to be the reason why this movie fails if they don't go and see it, or if they go on Twitter and anger tweet the hell out of it. What's going to make the success of that movie is everyday individuals that know who Superman is, and they see the trailer and are either, oh, okay, yeah, that looks cool, or they look at it and they go, huh. Those are the people that are going to make it. So to sit there and try to mesh everybody together in that and try to say it's just people hating on Superman, that's not the case. You just have, and if you have people out there that don't know what to make of the trailer or of this clip. It just is not positive at the moment. And that's not due to just one segment of Snyder Bros. Believe me, it's not.
5-second clip and judging a 2-hour movie on it. One.
Okay, again, like I said, he's talking about judging a clip, but I mean, that's what this group does. They judge clips, they judge trailers, they judge movies. That's what they're about. You can't sit there and you judge something and then turn around and point to everybody else and go, but you can't. That's not how it works. I mean, you got a double-edged sword. You got to bite the bullet on this one, man.
I also don't understand looking at something that's intentionally shot in scope to feel impactful and judging a thing on your phone too. I also don't.
So, and this is where I have an issue with this. One, he's basically thinking or saying that he believes that everybody who's watched this trailer or the clip has done nothing but watched it on their phone, as if they don't sit there. Dude, I was at my desk at work and gave it a watch and was like, huh. So to sit there and try to put a microcosm and say that it's just dorks looking at their phone and you can't judge by looking at it. In this day and age, man, people, one, these phones are outrageous. I mean, it's not like you're missing anything on these phones anymore. But two, I mean, people get their content in many different ways besides on their phone. And you can rewatch it 5, 6, 7, 8 dozen million times and understand that an eyeball looks a little conky, or that the graphics look a little off. I mean, Marvel's got that for years with their CGI in their comics or in their trailers, that it looks wonky and off. So to sit there and then try to blame people staring at their phones. I don't want to say this is where they're at, but it almost seems like they're getting paid by Warner Brothers, and it's them not wanting to trash a movie because they're in the pocket. They probably most definitely have tickets to the premiere of this, or they have tickets online to the premiere of this. And we have seen this before. You have content creators that go on and just trash a product or a movie or this or whatever, and they get that promotion pulled, or they get that stipend, they get that money, they get whatever it was that was promised to them pulled because they trashed it, because they gave what they felt was the truth on it. And I think what you're getting here is you're getting more of, he knows what's on the line. He knows that if he trashes this stuff, they're going to have to wait a day or so to see this movie instead of seeing it on the premiere, which that's what this page relies on. It relies on content. So they want their stuff out there before anybody to get the views, to get the clicks. And I think it's almost disingenuous. I understand that, hey man, at some point you're going to sell out. You're going to get big enough to where a studio or a movie company or somebody's offering you a good chunk of change to go, hey, just promote the hell out of this for us, get it out there, and we'll slide you this. I get that. But at the same time, I respect more if you're just making content for yourself and you're giving the truth. Maybe he is giving his honest truth here. Maybe he does feel this way on it, but he comes off overly hypocritical on, basically judging movies or talking about clips or trailers and giving their honest opinions. But
I don't understand the need to take something that's inherently fantastical and try to drag it through the mud when the whole point.
And again, it's inherently fantastical to him. He obviously loves Superman. It obviously brings a smile to his face. Hey, more power to you, bro. More power to you. If he gets up in the morning and he opens a comic, or he looks on his wall and he's got a Superman poster, or he's got Superman underoos on and it gives him a smile. Hey, in this world, more power to you. But at the same time, 2,500 other people don't feel that way. 2,500 other people don't care. 300 of those people might know who Superman is. 20 of them might not. And so for you to say, oh, you can't be bringing something fantastic down, it might not be awesome to them. They could care less. I mean, it does not matter to them. It brings you joy. Again, good for you. I have things that bring me joy that other people won't understand, or even will call me a nerd, a dork, or an idiot for. That's just how it is. And if you're worried about what other people think about it, then you've already lost, my friend. I could care less what people think about what I enjoy. It's what I enjoy. It makes me happy. It's what gets me off. It's what turns me on. I'm not worried if anybody else tells you, F you if you don't like it. It's for me. So to start putting the blame on just people as trying to drag people down, and again, I'm sure he's trying to point it at these Snyder Bros, but the way unless he just came out and went Snyder Bros, he's making it seem like every other person out there who is not a comic fan and looked at that and went, oh, I don't know, trying to crap on them by saying they're bringing it down and they're bringing his joy down when he shouldn't even be worried about that.
Of Superman is joy. 3 and 4, I don't understand why there are people that are seeking negativity about a property that is inherently about bringing good to people.
And again, that's the dude. You're Superman, bro. That's fantastic for you, man. That's great. That's phenomenal. That you're Superman, bro. That doesn't mean that everybody out there loves or cares as much as you do about Superman, and you can't sit there and be upset for somebody going, that trailer doesn't work for me, or yeah, his eye looks like it's popping out the side of his head. You can't get upset about that, man. There's things that you like that people are going to find negatives about, and there might be negatives about it, and you can either sit there and see it and go, well, yeah, that's true, but I still love it. Or you can sit there and just go, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And you can be that. You can be that guy. You can be the guy that just wants to argue back and not see it is for what it is. Obviously, the jury is still out on this trailer. The jury is still out on this Superman. And it's the same thing with the Fantastic Four. You have previous generations and previous adaptations of this character out there. It's not just like there was one 40 years ago and this is the first time it's coming out. You have two or three different adaptations of this character that have been done for movies. This is not a product that has just been dusted off and thrown out there. So there's going to be some fatigue on it. There's going to be people that are going to go, oh God, another Superman again? And it's not that they're hating it. They're just fatigued of it. They're just tired of it. And to sit there and tell people not to judge something on a clip or to not to judge something on a trailer is disingenuous. Again, I don't think they need to go on social media or sit there and just crap on it and just sit there and just talk just complete garbage on it. But they could go, it just doesn't do anything for me right now. And you can be okay with that. You can be okay with that. I'm not into ultra negativity. I'm not into people that make it all about the politics and, oh no, God, this movie's going to be garbage because this character's not in it or that actor's not in it. No, I mean, I'm going to give it a chance, but no, I came off of those trailers, just that trailer and that clip going, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're giving us. I mean, maybe when they put the full trailer out, they'll have more of a story with it. And again, James Gunn is pretty good with his trailers as far as not giving a lot away. He did that with the Guardians, and he's done that with the Suicide Squad movie. And he does a lot where he promotes that there's, oh yeah, we got this character, that character, this character in there. That we think it's a huge cast, and then within the first 4 minutes of the movie, half the cast has been killed. So I mean, there could be a lot of that going on as far as the different characters that he showed in that first trailer. Again, I would tell anybody, if you don't like either the Fantastic Four teaser or the Superman stuff, hey, that's fine and dandy. That's you, but you don't need to crap on it all the time. I agree with them on that. You don't need to crap on it and just keep being, negative on everything. Just say, no, it's not for me, and then just go on with your life. If you enjoy it, hey, it's fantastic for you. Happy that you love it. Happy that you're excited for it. But don't get upset if people sit there and either go, no, it looks garbage, or they go, I don't know. I mean, you could be right in the end. That movie could come out, and it could be the greatest Superman movie ever. And more power to you for seeing it before everybody else. But at the same time, it could come out, and it could just be nothing. And it's one of those things where if you're a fan of it, you have to be prepared that what you're a fan of is not good or becomes garbage or is just, I mean, with me, Star Wars, I am a huge Star Wars guy. And I was excited about the new movies. And I was hyped up for The Last Jedi. And me and my buddy left that theater after watching that movie just going, what the F was that? I mean, and it just basically destroyed how I felt about those new movies because that movie was so bad. I didn't even go and see the third one in theaters because it was so bad. And if you're a Superman fan, you have to be prepared that this movie might be bad. And you have to be okay with it. And you can't get upset and say the reason why it was bad was because of all this negativity of this or negativity. No, it could just be a bad movie. It could just be a bad take on a character. Or it could just be people are over Superman. They want to see other characters. They want to deal with other stories. Who knows? But we'll find out. Again, we're going to do a little short one tonight. But help me if you like and subscribe. Even comment on these things if you want. Believe me, I'm not going to pick on you. I'm not going to make fun of you. I mean, if you say something negative, I might delete it. I ain't going to lie about that. But overall, I mean, hey, man, again, find what you love and do it. If you don't like it, hey, that's fine. You're not going to like everything, but you don't need to tell everybody or bitch and complain 24/7 about how you hate it or how you don't. Find something that makes you happy. Find that good earth and dig it, all right, man? All right. You all have a good night, evening, day, morning, whatever it is when you're watching this. I'm out.